Romantic pianist Jacob Koller expresses himself through classical and jazz performances. He added a jazz touch to classical music and released an album titled Falling in Love with Chopin. The album series which express Jacob Koller well are his cinematic piano series. The familiar film soundtracks have come alive through a jazzy interpretation. Jacob Koller is active in Japan, where the jazz culture is rich. He delights the global audience with his crossover music and with his romantic affair with jazz. Let us now learn about his world of music, enjoy his live performances, and fall in love with his life as a jazz pianist on this edition of The Innerview.
Hello, welcome to The Innerview. We begin today's program with the enchanting performance by jazz pianist Jacob Koller. Let's fall in love with his music. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Your opening performance just now convinced me that you are the charming, young, and romantic pianist. So how do you like this nickname?
Well, I didn't come up with it. Somebody else came up with it. Yeah, I didn't make it up, but I'm not opposed to it. It sounds good to me.
Nothing against it.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that you started learning classical music a long time ago, but you switched your focus to jazz later on. So what prompted you to make the shift?
Well, I started playing classical piano when I was 4, and I took lessons for a long time. In high school, they have a jazz band at my high school, and the jazz band director heard me play in junior high school. I did a little performance. He heard me play some classical pieces, and he suggested, "Why don't you try jazz?" And I thought, maybe, well, for 1 year, I'll give it a try, see what it's like. I didn't know anything about it, but as soon as I got into it, the idea of like improvisation and kind of self-expression, it was really exciting to me, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I really want to do. Yeah, so.
Junior high.
Yeah, well, right when I got into high school, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have a solid knowledge in classical music and also immense passion for jazz performances. So I'd like to ask you, what is the major difference between classical music and the jazz performances?
Well, there's quite a few. Stylistically and rhythmically, there's quite some big differences. Usually jazz, well, there's a lot of different styles within jazz. It could be swing, bossa nova, but it's usually kept with a very straight rhythm, a very strict tempo, a groove, whereas classical music tends to be more flexible, kind of can speed up and slow down and has more flexibility with the tempo. But I think that one of the biggest differences is the fact that jazz has lots of improvisation. And usually classical tends to be, as written, as written. Right. So that's a pretty major difference in the approach to it. With jazz, you have a lot of freedom. Every night can be a different performance. Can be
and you can have conversation with the audience more freely with
jazz
performance,
definitely. Yeah. You can feed off the audience, which I like to do in the concerts. Depending on the room and the environment, it will completely change the way I play. So that's exciting to me. It's like every time it's a new experience.
It's different.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, to a certain degree, classical can be too. There's a certain amount of freedom, but with jazz, I think there's a lot more freedom with jazz.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, your album, The Falling in Love with Chopin, naturally gives a jazzy interpretation of Chopin masterpieces. And I can tell that you have such a love and respect for Frédéric Chopin. When did this love affair with Chopin begin?
I would say when I was in maybe 4th or 5th grade, I started to play some Chopin music. And I always, from the first time I started playing Chopin, I loved his melodies. His melodies were so kind of haunting and beautiful and melancholy. It's like so many adjectives I could use to describe them, but there's so much character to all his melodies, and also his harmony is beautiful as well too. But yeah, there's just the character of the pieces. It's so original and so unique, and even if you've never heard the piece, you hear a few measures of it, it's like instantly you can identify that, that's Chopin, because he's got a signature style that's unbelievable.
Well, how does it feel to interpret the classical masterpieces with this additional jazzy flavor?
Well, recently, for a long time, I was pretty much strictly into jazz for a long time, maybe 10 years or so. That was like my main focus. And then several years ago, I decided to kind of really try other things besides traditional jazz, like try to take some classical pieces that I played as a kid or some pop music and different styles. And it kind of opened up a new door for me, kind of a new chapter in my career. And it's obviously, they're masterpieces originally, so there's no necessary need to redo them, but I felt the need that, like, I love these pieces and I want to do my own interpretation of them.
But during your interpretation, what do you focus on the most?
Well, there's a certain balance whenever I arrange a piece, whether it be classical or pop, right? I'm always thinking about a couple things. I don't want to arrange it so much that you lose the original content of the melody and the beauty of the original piece. What I want to do is kind of put it in a new light, put it in a new framework where you can still appreciate the original beauty, but with a different spin on it. So you can also kind of hear my language, if you will, and the piece at the same time.
Still enjoy the original.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to arrange it so much that you always like, can't even tell that it's that piece. I don't want to do it so far, but I want to do it enough that it's like you can also feel your version of it, my language too, sort of a combination of what I did with maybe Chopin or Mozart or Michael Jackson for that matter.
Right. Yeah. We must discuss cinematic piano series which are filled with movie soundtracks. So you are really a moviegoer, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I love movies. Ever since I was a little kid, something that when I was a child, did with my family every weekend. We would go to the movies. Back when I was a kid, I would go here, watch a movie, for instance, E.T. or Star Wars or Jurassic Park. And after I watched the movie, the theme song would be stuck in my head, and I would ask my piano teacher, like, I really want to play this song, I want to play this song. Even though I was mostly studying classical music, if I wanted to play a song, she'd let me play anything.
Right.
So I've got a lot of inspiration from watching movies.
So your cinematic piano series are released in 4 cities, and just looking at the selections, I can tell how difficult it must have been to reflect all the different colors and shades of each piece. And how did you overcome that? How did you, adjust yourself to the different shades of all the different music?
Oh, well, actually, I don't know, for some reason the movie series was really easy to do for some reason. I think because the visual image is so clear, and I don't know, somehow makes the music come to me very easily. Like when I'm trying to arrange the piece or something, I can draw inspiration from many scenes in the movie, or the characters of the movie, or the feeling of the movie. I don't know.
That helps you to really arrange the whole piece.
Yeah, it helps me arrange it. It gives me like ideas, gives me inspiration. So it's kind of, in a way, it's a kind of easy project in that sense.
I see.
It was a lot of fun too.
Well, in the opening, you play this jazzy entertainer from the movie Sting. And what did you have in mind when you arranged it?
Well, this is a song also that I played, my father played, and my brother played. My brother used to play piano. We all played this song as I was a kid when I was growing up. And so it's a song that I've known for many years, I've been listening to. Of course, it's like, you think of piano, this is one of the songs that people think of. But I wanted to do sort of a modern take on it. The entertainer to me sounds like somebody that's like, really pushing really hard to entertain people. So I wanted to make it really fast and just like really dynamic, and just kind of, because the original is a little bit kind of on the slower side, but I wanted to just kind of create a whole new version of it that was like really exciting and really dramatic.
It sounded very different, but very exciting, really.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, Cinematic Piano 4, My Soundtrack, was the last series of your film music, right? And the production process was very special. So how was it?
Well, when I originally started to do this project, the film music series, I intended only to make 1 CD. It was just a 1 CD project.
Right.
But there were so many songs I wanted to do, and it was so much fun to work on the project that I decided to make another one, make a second one. And then that turned into a third. And after I made the third, I was like, all right, let's do a 4th one. But let's switch it up on the 4th one. Instead of doing cover songs, I would like to make a tribute to all the movies that I've watched in my life that I really liked or that impacted me. Sometimes you see a movie and it can make you change your thinking. It can have a lot of impact on you. So I dedicated it to all those movies that I liked and wrote my own song, original song on it.
So your music spectrum is very vast, ranging from Chopin's masterpieces to contemporary film soundtracks. And we'll talk more about this after the short video clip.
Okay.
Romantic pianist Jacob Koller is a talented musician who rearranges and performs music of different genres, and he adds his distinct touch to classical and sensual piano pieces. He has been active in Japan since 2009. In 2010, he paid tribute to Frédéric Chopin by adding a jazzy touch to Chopin's masterpieces and released them through his album titled Falling in Love with Chopin. Jacob Koller's cinematic piano series have become his representative works. This collection began in 2011 when he gave a jazzy interpretation of film soundtracks. There are a total of 4 cinematic piano series albums, and this collection received avid support and love from the public. He added his own style and colour to movie soundtracks, which the public love. He performs music of different genres and is always branching out as a jazz music composer and an arranger. He has been busy in Korea with his activities since 2014. We met with Jacob Koller during the rehearsal of a cultural recital for one broadcasting station. Despite his free frequent mistakes, he controlled his pace and rehearsed intently for performance. He now feels comfortable and more relaxed after performing in Korea.
Every concert I've done in Korea has been great. Like the audience has been very responsive and they're quite vocal and enthusiastic. So yeah, I love it. It's really great. It feeds off. I can feed off the energy from the crowd and then put that into the performance, and yeah, it's great.
Soon began and the venue was filled with his piano sounds.
클래식과 재즈를 같이 이제 크로스오버를 해서 이지리스닝 음악 쪽으로 편안한 음악을 줄 수 있다는 건 참 독특하죠.
Jazz pianist Jacob Koller dominates the piano keys with his passion and love for music. He will show tremendous support for his future music career.
Well, you are very active in Japan and currently residing there, right?
That's correct.
And you are very fluent in Japanese as well.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your experiences in Japan?
Well, I originally went to Japan about 12 or 13 years ago. As part of a live tour with a band. I was playing in a sort of an electronic band back in my college days. And I went there the first time, and it was a really, really incredible experience. It was so different than America.
Sure.
And, a new language, a new city, and just kind of a new culture, and it was really exciting to me. So, and I also really liked performing there, and the audiences there tend to be very appreciative of music and listen very intently. So yeah, kind of decided someday I want to live there, and I did. I moved there.
You were on some Japanese TV program, which is sort of like a talent show, and you pushed aside a lot of talent, and you came in the first place. And it must have been a very exciting experience for you. And what was it like?
I would have to say that was the most nerve-wracking experience of my life. Like, that TV show is unlike anything I've ever done in my life. You're waiting around for a really long time, and then it's like
quite a unique show, actually.
It's very, very unique, and it's not like performing in any other situation that I've ever had. So to me, it was really a matter of like, can you stay focused and keep your concentration while there's a million cameras around you, and then you're sitting in the middle of this stage with people like staring at you, and there's a machine that rings every time you make a mistake. It can't get any more high pressure than that.
You are competing too, right?
Yeah. So it was quite the experience. I thought I had no chance to win that because there were some great classical pianists that were in that.
But you did.
I pulled it off. Yeah, I think I was able to focus my energy and keep, I was like pretty much shaking, which pretty much everyone that goes on that show is the same. They're like, your hands are shaking. So in the middle of that, I could still play. So that gave me more confidence. I was like, okay, even in this situation, I can still play the right notes. So I can relax a little bit then.
So were you happy at the end?
Yeah, honestly, I had no expectation to win that. So the fact that I won was like kind of like amazing to me.
Right.
Like, wow.
But Japan has a very strong jazz culture. What are some characteristics of jazz culture in Japan?
Well, one of the things when I first went to Japan that I thought was really awesome is that there are tons of jazz clubs, especially in Tokyo. There's dozens and dozens of jazz clubs all over. Little clubs, big clubs, really fancy clubs and all kinds of cool places.
Right.
And there's so many players. There's so many people studying jazz there. That a lot of people go overseas, they study at Berklee College of Music, then they come back to Japan. So and there's actually quite a few foreign musicians that live in Japan too. So it's really a great place for jazz. I mean, there's so many opportunities to play. There's so many incredible musicians there.
Right.
That, I mean, if you compared it to New York, it's a little more on the straight ahead side. The jazz tends to be a little more traditional, more straight ahead. New York tends to be more modern
Right.
and stuff, but there are some people that are doing very modern things in Japan as well. So yeah, it's a great place for a musician to
Right.
be. Yeah.
Well, you run the Jacob's International Music School in Japan, and I saw some sample lessons in the video streaming website, and it was awesome. I mean, the kids were having so much fun and learning at the same time. I'd like to hear your teaching philosophy.
Well, you just said it. They're having fun learning at the same
Really?
time. Like, to me, the kids, well, adults for that matter too, but especially kids, they learn when they're having fun. When they're not having fun, they usually tune out.
If I were a kid, I would want to be there. Actually.
You're good. Yeah, I mean, I hope so. It's to me, music is fun, and that's the first thing. Is music should be fun, and yeah, we try to teach that from the first lesson. Get them started off right and enjoying music.
Lucky for them. So your most recent album, Jacob Koller, carries a variety of music genres, including pop and rock and world music, to name a few. And what do you intend to achieve through this collaboration of different genres of music?
Well, before the CD, most of the CDs that I had put out had a very clear theme. For instance, I did a Chopin CD, I did a Christmas CD, and then I did the movie music for a 4-disc series of that. So this latest CD, I wanted to do something that didn't have such a clear theme. I wanted the theme to be basically me. It sounds kind of selfish, but I wanted it to be like my arrangement style with all kinds of different genres. So even though there's Led Zeppelin song, there's Michael Jackson, there's Mozart, there's some Japanese song on there, there's all kinds of different music on there. I feel like it's all tied together because of my arrangement style. So that was the goal.
Who is your favorite musician?
That's a really difficult question. Do I have to choose one,
You
or
have
can
to
I choose
pick one.
only
Yes.
one?
Yes.
Oh, that's really hard. Wow. Well, you know what? I have to go with Keith Jarrett on this one. The reason being, I mean, there's so many great pianists, but watching videos of Keith Jarrett when I was in high school really gave me the inspiration to study, to really want to be a professional musician. So I have such a admiration, and I got so much inspiration from watching his videos that I'd say, for me, Keith Jarrett.
Yes. So you are a jazz musician. I would like to hear your philosophy on jazz music.
You know, I totally appreciate that people refer to me as a jazz musician, but kind of in the last few years, I don't even really think of myself as a jazz musician per se. Of course, I studied jazz and I have a lot of influence from jazz. But I think of when I create music, I don't think so much like, oh, I'm a jazz pianist, so I have to make jazz, or I'm classical, I'm going to make classical. I want to create something that I would like to listen to.
Right.
That's always my goal. Like, I think
Right.
of, what do I want to listen to? What would I want to hear? And then I try to create that.
Well, certainly I hope to see you more on stage here in Korea. And it's only January. And what are your future plans?
Well, I hope to come back frequently. Right now, as I told you before, I live close by in Japan. It's only a couple-hour plane
Couple of
ride.
hours plane.
Yeah. Right now, we've already got concerts booked in March, the end of March. So I'm definitely coming back in March.
In March.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I look forward to it.
thank you. I hope you can come to the show. Yeah, and I hope to be back as much as I can.
And amongst our viewers, there are people who aspire to be a musician like yourself. And what are some of the words of wisdom or encouragement that you could give them?
Well, I would say that it's really important that you enjoy music no matter what level you're at. Whether you just started, whether you're already a professional, or whether you're aspiring to be a professional. Learn how to have fun with music. Learn how to enjoy it. And that should be the underlying factor that guides you through. And, if you're having fun doing something, you're going to want to keep doing it more. You're going to practice more because it's fun. For me, it's my whole life, music has been a fun experience for me, and I never want it to be something that's like stressful or not fun. So I would just say enjoy it, whatever stage you're at.
Okay. Well, it was a great interview where you inspired many with your music. Thank you very much for your time and beautiful music.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure.